I made a short on my YouTube channel some months back, and the title of my short is He's Down Low If. And as you can see, this is the thumbnail picture of the short that I have on my YouTube channel. And I get quite a bit of comments under this particular short, and they're guys. They're from guys who are very offended by this short. And I was thinking to myself, why would you be offended by what I'm saying in this short if it does not apply to you? So I'm going to give a review of the guys' comments under my short on my YouTube channel that is titled He's Down Low If. I'll actually link the short under this video description if you want to take a look and listen. My name is Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. And I'm doing this video message today that I have titled He's Down Low If, my review of guys' comments. Because I think it's very important to discuss how the down low, which is abbreviated as DL, which refers to men or women who are gay or bisexual or same-sex attracted, but they live hidden secret lives with engaging in sexual acts with people of the same sex, but they openly are involved in relationships with the opposite sex. They do not accept being gay or bisexual. They're either in denial, or they just are ashamed or embarrassed or not ready to live openly as a same-sex attracted person. And they hide their life. They live a double life, and they disclose to the world that they are heterosexual, but it's a lie. And this particular short was referencing men who are on the down low. As the title obviously says, he's down low if. And so there's comments from guys, and you will actually see comments under the short, but many of those comments have been deleted or removed. Some of them I delete or remove because I block some of the men who are making the comments, but YouTube will also block comments as well that are explicit or vulgar. And the comments that are made are clearly from men who are on the down low. And if you've ever heard the phrase, a hit dog hollers, this actually relates to any guys who comment on my short, because I was basically just explaining an observation about men who are on the down low. And the men took it very personal. And I noticed with the comments that they would say statements like, "What do you know? You're just a woman." Or they may say, "Females don't know nothing about men. we are always cheating on y'all with men and you'll never know. And they'll always put like laughing emojis. You know, those emojis that are always laughing. Every single comment that I've seen, the guys that respond, they always leave laughing emojis after their comment. And what that indicates is they find it funny that they are involved in their down low behavior and that they do not take their life or other people's lives seriously. It's funny to them. And the mindset of a down low man is very irresponsible. It's careless, and they're very insecure. And they're wicked. Because any man that finds it funny or is willing to risk his own life day after day to live a secret double life, he does not love himself. And it's impossible for him to love another person. Down low men risk their health every day because they have no self-control. They are involved sexually with people who they leave in the dark about who they really are. They have unprotected sex. And these are not just statements that I'm making. These are statistics. There are actual reports that have information about the history of people who live on the down low. And the down low lifestyle, or being on the DL men, they are engaging in very dangerous sexual activity because they are promiscuous and they have multiple sexual partners. STDs, which are sexually transmitted diseases, or STIs, sexually transmitted infections, they are not going away. And many of them are incurable. And they are spreading STDs and STIs to their sexual partners. These down low men do not care about their own life. And that's why it's so easy for them to live on the down low. Because people will question, what kind of person goes around pretending to be straight when they're really a homosexual or a bisexual? Well, a down low man is not really a man because he's not confident in himself in order to be himself. And he waits on a heterosexual person to validate him. If a heterosexual person disapproves of him being a gay man or a bisexual man, then he agrees with that heterosexual person's view of him. See, some of these down low men, they were in at least two situations. Now, I'm not saying this is all of their situations they've been in, but I'll briefly explain two situations that the down low man has been involved in. He has probably been teased very young in his life, made fun of, because people noticed that he was feminine, or they noticed that he tended to pay more attention to the boys instead of the girls. And he probably had people he went to school with that used to bully him about him being gay. And he also experienced family members that called him out on his behavior because he showed signs of being a homosexual. And this actually traumatized him very early in life. And what he decided to do was to deny that he's gay or bisexual. And he began to imitate other boys or men who acted heterosexual. So these guys who are actually really homosexual or bisexual, they pretend that they're not gay or bisexual by acting straight. So whatever they had to do to make themselves appear straight, they keep this mask on daily. They would watch how men move, how men talk, how men interact with other women, how men actually interact with other men, because men are actually a certain way with men. And this is not referring to them being gay or bisexual, but there's a certain way that a heterosexual man acts or behaves around other men. And heterosexual men are able to detect a gay man or a bisexual man from another heterosexual man. And that is a reason why down low men who are actually secretly gay or secretly bisexual, they avoid heterosexual men because men know men. And I just want to say to heterosexual women, or if you're a woman who is bisexual and you basically are involved with men romantically and or sexually, listen to heterosexual men about other gay men or bisexual men, because they know who is gay and who is bisexual. I know a lot of heterosexual women or women who like men, they listen to other gay men about guys on the down low, and that's fine because they know as well. Because regardless of a man's sexual orientation, whether he's heterosexual or if he's a homosexual or if he's bisexual, he is still a man, and a man knows a man. And these guys on the down low, these men who live secret lives, they secretly go around and sleep with other men, but in private, they will not let other people know that they are having sex with men. These men do not let other people know that they're having sex with men. They do that in private. And they make sure that they link with other guys that keep their secret. And they'll date women, or some of them are married to women. They also have multiple children with women because it is another way for them to disguise the fact that they are homosexual or bisexual. But listen to heterosexual men about these down low guys. They know what they're talking about. You know why? Because these down low guys come on to heterosexual men. See, these down low guys, they don't always know what man is gay or bisexual or on the DL. So they take risk every day just to have sex with a man. That's how desperate they are to have sex with a man. That's how desperate they are to receive validation from another man. They are willing to go out there and expose themselves. And they expose themselves to heterosexual men. So heterosexual men know who these down low guys are. Now, the second scenario of a down low man is a man who comes from a very religious background. Like, he either went to church all his life, or he knows people who go to church in his family, in his community, and he's been around people who are very religious, and they have made it very clear that homosexuality is a sin, that homosexuality is a perversion. So all his life, he heard that a man, a real man, is not a gay man, and that he will go to hell for being a homosexual. And a lot of the religious people, they don't really discuss bisexuality because they don't think it exists. They really think that homosexuality is man-on-man sexual action, and that's what they condemn. So he's been scared out of his mind, and he doesn't want to go to hell. He actually is a man of the cloth. He actually is a preacher, or he's a deacon. He has some type of position in the church, and he's esteemed in the church. And he actually uses the church to cover up his homosexual or bisexual lifestyle. And many of these men in the church, they are very familiar with the fact that women flock going to church. Like, go to any church and just watch and compare how many men are in the church and how many women are in the church. Women actually outnumber men in the church. And a lot of women who go to church, they want a husband. And these down low men are very aware of that, and they will use women as beards to cover up the fact that these men like men. So they'll date the women in the church. They'll even marry women in the church, and they use women as beards because these women who are in the church, a lot of them are very religious, and they're so religious, they don't know how to think with their common sense. So they pretty much almost put these men of the cloth, or these men who are in positions in the church, on a pedestal. And they don't think that this man could ever be attracted to another man. So a lot of them are very clueless and delusional about down low men in the church. But down low men migrate in the church. It is a safe space for them because they have two ways of protecting themselves. It gives them a false sense of believing that they're saved because they believe, well, if I go to church, if I'm a preacher, if I'm a deacon, or if I have some type of position in the church and people, respect me, then this means that I am okay with God, that God will overlook the fact that I lust after men or that I sleep with men sometimes. Well, no, I do sleep with men quite a bit, but God will overlook it because, hey, I'm preaching and teaching in the church all the time. So it gives them a false sense of being saved. And secondly, they can deceive people in the church by being in the church. Surely this man, he goes to church every Sunday and any other day in the week. He's always there. He's on time. He's preaching or he's teaching or he's always serving in the church. This is a man of God. He's a man of the cloth. Surely he is not a homosexual. Surely he is not a bisexual. He doesn't sleep with men. He can't be attracted to men. Look at him. He's so manly. He's so godly. He's so fine. So they're able to deceive a lot of people in the church, and they use women in the church all the time. Yeah, they'll sleep with some of the women in the church, even though they're not married, and they'll do it to keep the women brainwashed and worshiping him. So he can never be detected that he is a gay man. He's a bisexual man. He is on the down low. This is all intentionally planned out by men on the down low. These men are very strategic. They're very hypocritical. Everything that they do with the sole intention of deceiving people. But they deceive themselves. Some of these men have been so used to lying and manipulating and controlling and doing all of this secretive sexual same-sex behavior that they have convinced themselves that they are actually straight. They are delusional, and that makes them very dangerous. They care more about how other people view them over how they view themselves. Like, they do not have high self-esteem. These men have very low self-esteem. They have a poor self-image. They hate themselves. A down low man is a true definition of self-hatred. They hate the fact that they're gay. They hate the fact that they're bisexual. They hate the fact that they're a man who likes men. They are attracted to men. They're turned on by men. They crave a man. And they never have healthy relationships with men because they can't give themselves 100% over to a man. And let me tell you, being involved sexually with a person is not fulfilling when you are not able to commit to a person openly and securely, and you're not able to love yourself and love another person. There's no love in the relationship. Yes, you can have a release, a sexual release. Yes, you can engage in your desires, your longing for the same sex, but the satisfaction is very temporary, and that's why they have to keep going back and back and back and back to sleeping with men, and they become very promiscuous because it's an addiction. Lust is not tamed. Lust is insatiable, and that's why these men become sexual addicts. Men already have a very high sex drive. That's just the way they're designed. God made men that way. They have hormones, testosterone, and they have androgen. These are male hormones. And I don't care how masculine or feminine a man is a man. Doesn't matter his sexual orientation. He can be heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. A man is a man. They both have the same hormones, testosterone and androgen. They are designed to have very high sex drives. And when a man does not feel like he can be a man, he feels less than a man. He will engage in behaviors to try to make himself feel better about himself. And usually these are very destructive behaviors. He can become physically and verbally violent. In many cases, down low men are very aggressive and violent towards women. A lot of the domestic violence cases involve men and women, and these men are secretly gay or on the DL. A lot of these men resort to substance abuse. And some of them get caught up in gambling. The destructive behaviors they involve themselves in are a coping mechanism with the fact that they are not living an honest life. These men are very miserable men. And what makes the situation even worse is they involve other people in their misery. Misery loves company. That's why they go out and they seek after women, because a lot of them take out their anger and their frustration and their insecurities on women, because they do hate women, but they really hate themselves. But they will attack women all the time viciously because they hate the fact that the world expects a man to be with a woman. But this man don't want to be with a woman. So he hates women, and he takes out his anger and his resentment and his lack of courage out on women. And he constantly seeks the validation of other men. But he's afraid of men at the same time, because he knows a man knows a man, and real men know a coward. And the issue with these down low men is they always like to belittle and degrade gay men or bisexual men who are open. They're not ashamed of who they are. They love themselves. These down low men despise openly gay men, because those are the real men. Openly gay men, men who live in their truth, those are real men. Down low men are not real men. Heterosexual men who love themselves, those are real men. And they know a down low man when they see him. And these down low men are out of control, and they take out their anger and their rage on women. That's why they're in my comment section. And most of them don't even know that I'm a lesbian woman. They comment to me as if I'm a heterosexual woman, saying, that's why you always gonna get a down low man. I've even had some of them be so crude and vile and wicked that they say, I hope you get infected with AIDS. This is how evil and spiteful these down low men are. But see, I'm not your issue. You are your own problem. And until you be a man, you're always going to have a miserable life. At the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. You can leave 1,000,000 comments under my short, he's down low if. But it will not change your situation. You're going to have a down low life. DL, that's the perfect title for you. Down low, you are in the gutter. Why live a trashy lifestyle? while everybody else is living free, living in their truth. I love being a lesbian. I refuse to live on the down low. And I love the fact that there's gay, lesbian, bisexual, and LGBTQ people who love themselves, who respect themselves. And let that be a real example to you that you can live in your truth. You can love yourself. You can be openly homosexual or openly bisexual. And you don't have to lie to yourself. And you don't have to lie to other people just to barely make it in life. And you can stop lying to God, because you can't lie to God anyway, man of the cloth. God knows who you really are, and you're about to be exposed. He's down low if he leaves hateful comments under my short. The proof is right there. My name is Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. I am a professional certified lesbian life coach. You need a life coach? My life coaching is for same-sex attracted people. Contact me. Have a good day.